The amount of people that believe that 500 milligrams of testosterone is a dosage that you need to use to see any sort of gain is absolutely crazy. The side effects that come with those gains, people think that's what you need to put up with because you need that 500 milligram number as a minimum. So then what happens is you get people that are taking anti-estrogens to lower high estrogen values, which come with high testosterone dosages. So you're kind of like trying to fix the damage you're doing to yourself, but it doesn't have to be that way. Can you use lower testosterone and get just as good results? Which brings me to my point. Low testosterone cycles, do they work? Quick disclaimer, this is not medical advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. So personally, for my last show that I did in 2019, I worked with a coach called Matt Porter, who was one of the best in the industry. And when he ripped my cycle out, it was very low with every compound, Masteron, Trenbolone, and testosterone. The thing is, because all the compounds were fast acting, it meant I had to inject myself on a daily basis. And the testosterone he wanted me to use was testpropionate, which is a very painful injection. So what I decided to do was not use it. It wasn't through his advice, it's just because I just did not want to. I didn't want to take the pain, I didn't want to inject it every day, and I thought I had enough on board with the Trenbolone and Masteron, which were very low dosed. So I went through that whole prep, and I didn't use any tests. And I actually won the show. My physique, my conditioning, the way my body transformed was absolutely remarkable. It was the best prep I had. It was the best I've ever looked. So after that, I thought to myself, do you know what? Maybe this time when I do go back on cycle, because I took some time off, why don't I just try lower testosterone and see how my physique fares with that? And I went on to like 125 milligrams a week, bearing in mind that my actual test levels were low, below the average range, which I was okay with at the time on prep. I'm not looking to sleep around. I just focus on my show, right? I just focus on that. So I ran 125 milligrams a week, and I did get the same results as if I was taking a higher dosage. But the only difference was I wasn't getting those side effects. I wasn't bloated. My libido wasn't all over the shop. I didn't have to take an anti-estrogen. I wasn't having extreme amounts of water retention and water fluctuations. So ever since that time in 2019, I have never gone above 125 to 150 milligrams of testosterone a week. And when I've had a blood test done, that range of that dosage always puts me at the high end range, maybe a little bit higher. So if you look at a range, say you've got numbers between 9 and 31. I was about 31 to 35 using that dosage. Where at 500 milligrams, I was like 50, 60, I was double. So when I look at that, and I experienced that myself, when it came to coaching, I'd had guys that had come to me that were using that typical, you've got to use 500 milligrams a week, bro. I don't know where this number comes from. It gets plucked out of thin air, but you've got to use 500 milligrams a week, bro. They're taking that. They're taking Novadex. They're taking Arimidex, all for all the testosterone that they're using, which is causing the damage in the first place. And then the body looks quite similar. So it's very bloated. There's a lot of water retention, higher blood pressure. So when I've taken these people's test dosages down and brought it right down, everything starts to move forward. If we're on a fat loss phase, the fat starts to come off a little bit quicker. If we're on a gaining phase, we're not putting on so much water weight, which is going to affect your kidneys in the long run. So low testosterone cycles do work extremely well. And what else I've noticed is it works well with people that tend to struggle to lose body fat. So like an endomorph, someone who's naturally estrogenic. This is a fantastic way of using testosterone, getting the most from it, and not jeopardizing your health. If your base of your cycle is so high already, what do you think is going to happen when you add other things in? What do you think if you've got 500 milligrams of test and your body's already struggling? Now you're going to add Tren, now you're going to add Masteron, now you're going to add Anavar, now you're going to add Winstrol. You've got a cascade of problems on your hands. So if you've used testosterone at a higher dosage, I would say that give this a shot. If you're running 500 milligrams now and you're finding yourself getting these side effects, what tends to happen is people, males, tend to look at their libido. This is the thing that they get. I'm taking 500 milligrams of test, bro. I'm not getting an erection because their estrogen's gone completely up. Where in their head, they're thinking, well, I'm taking loads of tests, I should be really horny. Well, the reality is your body has to balance out its hormones. So the more tests you take, the more estrogen your body creates. So then they get told to use, like I said, an AI, which will destroy your lipid profile. So if you're one of these, if you fall into this category, lower your test to the dosage of 125 to 150 milligrams a week. You can either do that in one shot or split it into two. Every time you split your shots, it's actually better. Testosterone enanthate, sustanon, siphonate, the longer acting esters, split it into two. And what will happen is your levels will start to come down, back down to a good range. You'll start to feel a lot better. A lot of the side effects will leave. You won't be sitting there running an AI, and then you'll be able to progress your physique. And when you add something in, for example, if you're on a bulk, you add a bit of equipoise or you want to add a bit of Masteron in your cut, the compound that you add in doesn't stack on top of the damage you're doing already. Almost complements it if you're sensible with your dosages. So obviously, if you want to be a competitive bodybuilder and you want to work into the pro ranks to be the next Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, no, you're not going to build a professional physique on 125 to 150 milligrams a week. It ain't going to happen. But at the same time, those are the elite people, and those people are doing what they need to do to get to that level. I don't think the majority of people, even at an amateur level, You need to go above that 500 milligram range as a maximum. But people are starting on that. The average guy down the gym who doesn't do any shows or competes is running 500 tests a week because nothing else apparently works at a lower dosage than that. If you're going to use testosterone, please, please, please do not do the whole 500 milligrams is what you need to build a body. Start on the lowest dosage possible, which is around 125 to 150 milligrams per week. If you want to get really diligent with it, you get your blood test done first, see where your level is, take that 125 to 150 a week and see where it brings you. Because everyone responds differently to testosterone, right? So it's almost like 150 might put you up too high. 150 might put you at the top end range. But if you start at that lower dosage, at least you've got an understanding of where your body's at and what your body needs, rather than flooding yourself, letting the testosterone build up in your system, and then having a cascade of side effects which take time to go away. So the take-home message is lower test cycles absolutely work. And from the majority of people, they're more manageable. There's a lot more longevity in it, and you can still make good gains. You don't have to do the 500 milligrams per week as a minimum. So guys, if you've got any questions, just drop me a message in the comments or DMs on Instagram. I'll be happy to answer them and give you my best advice possible. Trying to share experiences from what I've had and through coaching people that may help you. It gives you another insight to what you possibly may benefit from, or gives you a different insight to maybe what you're doing. And for more content than this, please subscribe and like.